Michael Myers is back with a brand new sequel to the original Halloween movie that sees Laurie Strode face her tormentor in a thrilling showdown. Yippee-ki-yay movie lovers, it's Jan here, and in this video I'm breaking down everything you need to know about the ending of the new Halloween movie, including that WTF twist and crucial details you might have missed. Plus I'll explain my theory about the mask and the role of Laurie's granddaughter in the next sequel. Make sure you watch till the end for some bonus Easter eggs. So tap the bell and also leave me a comment about the movie for a chance to win one of these cool Halloween merch packs. Spoilers ahead for Halloween 2018 plus other movies in the franchise. The climax of the new Halloween movie sees Michael Myers battle 3 generations of Strode women in an epic showdown. Laurie's been waiting years for this moment and she's fortified and booby-trapped the house to the max. Michael does break his way in though, and during the final confrontation we get a replay in reverse of the final moments of the first Halloween movie, as this time it's Laurie, not Michael, who goes over the balcony and then disappears. Laurie's daughter Karen then attracts Michael's attention with her cries for help, leading him to believe she'll be an easy next victim, but it turns out to be a trap. Basically, the hunter has now become the hunted as the Strodes have him cornered. The final trap is then sprung as the Strodes start to fill the safe room with gas, after which Laurie lights it up. Halloween fans will notice similarities between this scene and how Dr. Loomis set Michael on fire in a hospital room full of leaking oxygen canisters in Halloween 2. The 3 women flee the burning house and are picked up by a passing truck. A very quick shot inside the basement shows it on fire, though we can't see if Michael's there any longer. What we do hear though is a light breathing sound, which director David Gordon Green has said is Allyson. The movie ends with a close-up of the granddaughter still gripping the kitchen knife which she used earlier against Michael during their escape. And if you stay all the way through the credits, there isn't an actual post-credit scene, but you do hear what seems to be Michael breathing, similar to how you hear Pennywise's maniacal laugh at the end of the credits in It Chapter 1, which in my mind implies that Michael is still alive. Ending the movie with the sound of Allyson and Michael's breathing is a direct homage to how the first movie ended, and as we know, Michael was still alive and at large then. The second Halloween movie did attempt to establish that fire was the only thing that would eventually kill Michael, but that idea was tossed out when he returned in Halloween 4. Curiously, this new film features a tape of Dr. Loomis saying that Michael needs to be terminated, with Loomis at the time insisting he should be there to make sure Michael's vitals are no longer functioning and to incinerate the body. Still, it's been reported that Blumhouse are already working on a script for a sequel to this movie, which is hardly surprising given how much money it looks set to make at the box office. In many ways, this Halloween movie feels like an updated version of the 1978 Halloween, even if it is laden with Easter eggs and callbacks to many of the other movies in the franchise. In this sequel, Laurie has reclaimed the narrative, switching the role of predator and prey by hunting Michael herself, tracking him, trapping him, and seemingly, in her eyes, killing him. There was a hint at this role reversal between Laurie and Michael early on in the film, when Allyson and her boyfriend did a gender swap cosplay of Bonnie and Clyde at a Halloween party, and that little moment was also one of many parallels drawn in the film between Allyson and her grandmother. It's also interesting that in this film we have 3 generations of Strode women who've survived Michael, and there's an intriguing detail in the ending that I think means Laurie's granddaughter will actually be the key to the next sequel. The final shot of Allyson still holding the knife she used against Michael feels like a deliberate callback to the ending of Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. In that movie, which now exists in a separate timeline, Laurie's daughter Jamie ended up making a kind of psychic connection to Michael Myers when she touched his hand at one point in the film. Through that connection, Jamie took on some of Michael's evil instincts and ended up stabbing her foster mother, holding the weapon she used as the movie finished. Remember that, in this new film, Allyson came into close contact with Michael when she was trapped with him in the back of the police car. She also witnessed several horrific murders, her father's been killed, and after fleeing Michael she ended up traumatized in the middle of Laurie's shooting range, surrounded by creepy bullet-ridden mannequins. Although Allyson obviously survived, I wonder if she might end up suffering from similar PTSD to Laurie. The question is, will Allyson get the psychological help that she needs to deal with everything that's happened to her, unlike Laurie in the original films? So there's a possible connection between Allyson and Michael which could be explored in a sequel, with actress Andi Matichak taking the lead role rather than Jamie Lee Curtis. Okay, so let's talk about that contentious twist in the third act where Dr. Sartain, or the new Loomis as Laurie called him, stopped Sheriff Hawkins from shooting Michael by stabbing the officer with a pen blade, at which point he not only became a killer himself, but even took on the identity of Michael Myers, donning his mask. This moment was foreshadowed earlier in the film when Sartain told Laurie how Hawkins had stopped Loomis from killing Michael Myers 40 years ago. This time around though, the roles of the psychiatrist and the sheriff have been reversed, with Dr. Sartain stopping Sheriff Hawkins from killing Michael. On the surface, Sartain is similar to Loomis, who in this version of Halloween has passed away off-screen. Like Loomis, Sartain is obsessed with his patient Michael. However, his ideas about the killer are basically the complete opposite of Loomis's. Sartain wants to explore and understand what makes Michael tick and is desperate to see him reunited with Laurie, presumably so he can observe what happens. The character of Sartain has proved polarizing among fans and critics, with some complaining he's too cartoonish and his performance is OTT, although the idea of a deranged psychiatrist who wants to become like Michael is rather interesting. I think the problem is that the character of Dr. Sartain might feel jarring to some fans who consider him a replacement for Dr. Loomis, a much-loved character from the franchise who couldn't return in person because actor Donald Pleasance has long since passed away. But in reality, the real Dr. Loomis of this Halloween movie is Laurie Strode. After all, Laurie knows Michael better than anyone, and she and Loomis were both there that fateful night in 1978. Also, just like Loomis, Laurie's warnings about Michael aren't often taken with the degree of seriousness they should be. So the real message we're supposed to get from both Sartain and the podcaster's obsession is that it's actually useless to try to understand why Michael Myers does what he does. As Laurie herself says, there's nothing new to learn, there are no new insights or discoveries. Ever since the first film, many fans have questioned Michael's motivation themselves, and it's something the franchise has attempted to answer in its myriad of sequels and ever-increasing mythology over the years. But this Halloween movie says we should forget about all that and just listen to Loomis and Laurie's view of Michael. In other words, he's basically the embodiment of pure evil. Indeed, as director David Gordon Green has said, in our version of the story, as in John Carpenter's, Michael is an essence. He's not a character, there's no arc, he's shape. Speaking of which, given Michael's victims are mainly random, then perhaps it could also be possible for the person under the mask to be random too. So even though the film teases that Michael could still be alive with a shot of an empty burning basement and what sounds like his breathing at the very end, what if Michael really is dead? The real twist then could be that the Michael Myers legend lives on through copycat killers who take up his masked identity, as Dr. Sartain briefly did in this film. Remember, for example, that we don't know for sure if the police managed to recapture all those patients who escaped from the bus with Michael. Because this Halloween movie replaces the original sequel, Halloween 2, the reveal in that film of Michael and Laurie being siblings has been discarded. 1981's Halloween 2 established the idea that Michael was trying to kill Laurie because she was his sister. He'd already killed his other sister Judith at the beginning of the first film, and after escaping he wanted to finish the job and kill Laurie as well. That brother-sister relationship became the basis for Michael's motivations in various Halloween movies, for example Halloween 4, where he decided to go after Laurie's daughter. This new story abandons all the continuity from those other films, which means that in this new timeline, Michael's obsession with Laurie is simply random, and it was just her bad luck that she wandered up to the old Myers house at the moment he was standing inside looking out. With Michael's family connection to Laurie gone, it actually makes him a much scarier villain. And that fact is acknowledged in a very meta moment in the movie, where Allyson tells her friends that Michael and Laurie being siblings was just a lie the townspeople made up to make themselves feel better about the terrifying babysitter murders. In this Halloween movie, Michael doesn't appear to have any particular motivation as to who he targets, and he really does fulfill his homicidal instinct. With the exception of holding back from killing a baby, this Michael seems to kill whoever he feels like in his path. Everyone from gas station attendants to sandwich-making mothers. And in a rather shocking move, we even see him murder a young boy, though the director deliberately blurs the shot somewhat. When Laurie calls him the Shape at one point in the movie, it's not only a reference to how Michael Myers was credited in the first film, it's also an acknowledgement of the kind of faceless violence the character represents. He's a remorseless, brutal killing machine with no real humanity, and that lack of humanity is alluded to throughout the film, with characters referring to Michael variously as it, this thing, or property of the state. And during his final confrontation with Laurie, he hides among her mannequins as he's just another soulless entity. Halloween 2018 is of course stacked with Easter eggs and callbacks to all the other films, but there are some particularly interesting details I noticed that really add some extra meaning to the movie. This sequel pays homage to the orange-coloured opening credits and jack-o'-lantern of the original film, but there's a clever riff on them this time though, as a decomposed pumpkin slowly comes back to life over the course of the credits, which is a nice metaphor for this film's rebirth of the Halloween franchise after what many would say are years of it slowly rotting away. And did you notice that Sheriff Hawkins was playing a Back to the Future game when he got a call about the bus crash? Like Laurie in the new timeline, Hawkins was there in 1978 and actually stopped Dr. Loomis killing Michael, something he seems to regret, and he tries to make up for what happened that night by mowing Michael down with his police car all these years later, which is also an Easter egg to how Deputy Ramsey crashed into Ben Trammett in Halloween 2 while he was wearing a mask. And if you're curious about why Karen wears a Christmas sweater in the movie when it's Halloween, remember when Allyson's friends told her grandmother Laurie should skip Halloween and just put up a Christmas tree? Well, the real meaning of Karen's festive jumper is to symbolise how she's rejecting her mother's paranoia and Halloween's associations with terrible personal tragedies in her family. Effectively, she wants to skip over or block out Halloween and jump forward instead to a happier holiday season. At the end of this film, the room where Laurie falls out the window is an exact rebuild of the bedroom from the original movie's finale. It wasn't made to use for the end of this movie originally, but was actually built for a completely different purpose, which I'll discuss in my deleted scenes video shortly. However, an unintended consequence of using the same set for the final sequence in the new movie is that it subtly adds to the feeling that Laurie has never been able to shake off her past since the events of 1978. So what was your favourite moment in the new Halloween movie, and do you have any theories about Michael Myers or Allyson returning in a sequel? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and remember to subscribe for a chance to win one of these cool Halloween merch packs. Tap left to check out the secret truth about Michael Myers and Halloween 2018, or tap right for another video you're sure to like. If you enjoyed this, I really appreciate a thumbs up and a share. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Yippee-ki-yay, movie lovers!